Hey there, Christian the Old Man Cycling Show again. Just wanted to say, have a new video here where I'm going to do a voiceover of the Pottstown PA State Championship Criterium, the Masters 55 Plus group. I've done some new things with this video. I put some overlay in there for my fit data. That's data that's collected from my bicycle GPS unit. So as this video goes on and the race starts, you'll see my speed, you'll see my heart rate, you'll see the watts that I'm putting out. So this first race that I'm doing is a practice lap before we get started, and I'll walk you through the turns as we go. Right now we're getting some pre-race instructions from the marshals and the race director about the various turns. This is the marshal coming on right now, basically telling us we have a free lap where you can get a wheel change up until 7 laps left to go. It's a 25 lap race. The first lap is a neutral lap, which basically means we follow the motorcycle with the race isn't on until we cross the finish line the first time. So before we get into the race, before things start, I really appreciate if you would subscribe to this channel. I also would appreciate if you give this video a like, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave me any comments. If you have any suggestions for improved video going forward, let me know. I'm trying to do the voiceover but still leave the audio at a lower decibel from the main clip itself, so when I don't talk into the microphone for the voiceover, you should be able to hear some of the background noise that comes through on the video itself. So I'm not going to talk for the whole race. It's about a 49-minute race. It ended up being just under 19 miles. It was supposed to be 20. It's not quite a 0.8 mile loop. So now we're rolling out. You can see now my GPS kicked on, so my heart rate's starting to measure. And now you can start to see, that initial surge just to get rolling, put up a little bit of watts. So here we're coming up to turn 1. This was a nasty turn. If you look at the pavement, you want to be inside this turn. I'm going over the roughest part of the turn. Inside that rough patch is actually very, very smooth, freshly paved. This little chicane coming up here is known as turn 2. It sort of bends a little to the left, a little to the right, and this is a very gradual uphill. It's not hard at all, but it's uphill from here up until turn 4. So now we're coming up to, you can see the course on the upper left-hand corner. We're coming up to turn 3. This is turn 3. It's just a gentle bender, very wide. The roads are really good shape. You could ride very wide across. Of course, though, if you were on the inside of corners, you were getting pushed out of the way. But you just sort of dealt with it. Now we're coming up to a little bit more of a sharper left-hand turn. This is turn 4. And we're still going uphill from turn 1 up to here is really a very gradual uphill. So now we're coming up, and there's my one teammate that's in the race with me, Steve W. Unfortunately, as you'll see, Steve flatted about 5 laps in. Here's turn 4, another 90 degree. Now you're at the top of that little rise. Again, it wasn't much of a rise, but after 20 laps, you did start to feel it. Now we make turn 6. I'm sorry, turn 6. Now we're coming downhill. This is a little bit, this is opposite of where we climbed up. It's straight down the hill, a little slight bend to the right, but nothing major. Then the bottom corner here, you're going to be up to speed and you're coming back into the finishing stretch. So everybody's still sort of just getting in place, sort of doing, what they want to do. You can see I'm not pedaling, I'm not really doing anything. So now we're in the main stretch. The person right in front in the blue jersey, that's a guy, Joe. He's somebody I try to use the pace with often this ride. And so now we're going to start to crank it up. So we just passed the start-finish line, and now the race is on. So this is lap 24 to go, but this is lap 1 of the race. So you can see I got a good line of return that time. Stayed on the inside on the smooth part. We're starting to go up the hill. You can see, like I said, you can surge on it. This was a very surgy race. So you can see my power goes up, then we drop back down, we go back up. It was very surgy, especially it seemed like there was somebody going off the front on just about every lap, and then with maybe 7 or 8 laps, it settled down a little bit. So now we're coming up the hill still. We're coming back up into turn 4. When we come up around turn 4, coming up the end of the rise to turn 5, and then we're going to start heading back downhill. So again, this is just the first lap. Everybody's sort of getting a feel for the course, seeing what's going. There's my teammate Steve on the far right over there, still hanging tough in the first lap. And unfortunately, at one point in the race, I'm looking like, hey, where's Steve? And then, as we passed by the tent we had set up, I saw Steve there, and I guess he was no longer in the race. So we're going down the downhill. Just let it go for a couple laps and I'll point things out. So one of the things I did learn, just as a general rule, you'll notice a lot of these guys, watch when they come out of the turn. As soon as they come out of the turn, they're on the pedals. And that's one thing I noticed. Like, see how I'm dropping back right now? I didn't hit the pedals. Every turn I was dropping back 5-10 feet because I'm not getting on the power soon enough. So that's one good takeaway. That's a good thing about watching this video after you're done riding. You get to see what you did do or didn't do right. So again, you can see I surged up, but now you'll look again through here. That one wasn't too bad, although I did take a bad line through. I hit the rough spot of the pavement. You saw the bike jump around a little bit. But we're moving along pretty good. So now we're coming up here, and I think it's actually the next lap. You're going to hear somebody shout out, "There goes so-and-so, don't let him go." And of course, being a good Samaritan I am, I decided to chase after him, which wasn't necessarily a mistake, but probably was more energy than I really wanted to spend at that point in time. So again, nobody's really killing it yet. We're all still just sort of feeling our way out. You saw in that turn, I was real close to the inside. Couldn't really swing out because there was somebody on my outside shoulder. But that's just it. Your bike handling has to be pretty good on these. This was not a technical course, but it was a fast course, so you had to really be able to hold your spot, be able to get through the line, hold your line through the turn. You see this turn, we're a good line here, we're single file. Nobody's trying to get inside of me or outside of me, so I'm pretty much free just to do what I want to do. And now you can see they're starting to slow down up front. My power, I'm coasting, and I'm starting to pull past the guys. So here, I cut that inside part a little close, but I didn't really want to take any speed off. But again, you'll see at this bottom turn here, I drop back a little bit. And you can already see it there. I'm dropping back. I'm not on the power. I got to get better at that. I got to really, power out of those turns. Hit a little power before, because these turns were fine. They weren't technical. You could just sort of roll through them. There really was no issue with the turns themselves. Coming at this turn again, you can see I'm in a bad line. I go right through the rough spot because there was somebody on the inside of me. And we're starting a little climb again. Not too hard this time around. This was the point in time where somebody did actually attack off the front coming down the downhill. I don't know if you can see him up in the distance, but there is a rider up ahead, and this is where I don't know if I would call it a mistake. Somebody had to bring the brake back. I was hoping to get a little bit of help, not be on the front for a whole lap, but effectively I ended up being on the front for a whole lap. Because I was talking to one of the guys before the race, and this guy that took off on the front here, he's a strong rider, and if he got a big enough gap, there was a good chance that he could have stayed away for a good while. I don't know if he would have stayed away the whole race, but he was pretty strong. So you can see up in the distance, he's a good bit ahead of us right now. He probably has a 15 second gap on us. Didn't really want to let it get too much bigger. So now we're coming down. You can see the speeds up on this downhill part. Come around the corner, take a good tight line in the corner. And the ideal spot for setting up for turn 1 was to be right on this yellow line and cut right through the apex of the corner. And that was a soft spot. I mean, that was where it was all paved, it wasn't rough. So right now I'm lined up perfect for coming through turn number 1. And you see right here, I hit right where I want. A little wide of it. I thought I was better than that. But so we're still chasing. Haven't brought him back yet. And now I'm sort of looking around a little bit, wondering who's going to pull through and help close this down a little bit. As we get up the hill, you'll see people are going to start to come through. Here comes the first one. He comes through and just decides he's going to attack. So you'll see a couple other guys, and then I'll jump back on here. And at this point, I'm still feeling good, not feeling tired. That's another thing I did realize as we get to the end of the race. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I did have a few of those gel block shoes in my pocket. I should have used them. I felt good up until maybe the last 3 laps, and then I started to feel tired. I felt like I depleted my energy stores. I didn't eat during the race, like no blocks, no anything. So, reminder for next time, eat a little bit while we're going. So now there's 2 guys off the front. Still waiting for somebody else to come through and help the chase. Because, I'm a nice guy and everything, but I don't want to be the only one working here to bring this back. See, we're still at a good speed, 28, 29 miles an hour. Hitting down the home stretch really good. Hopefully this line will be a little bit better. Let's see how I get that. Unless somebody's coming up on the inside. So there's my buddy Joe up there again. So now I know these guys are going to be out. They're going to go bring this back. So now I know I want to get back onto this line. Still a little wide on that turn. But I'm not worried about these guys getting away. I know these guys I can easily get, coming up this hill. You'll see I'll exert a little bit of an effort here just to get on the back wheel. And just like that, it's starting to come back together. That was the one thing, I felt really strong during the beginning of the race itself. Like I had no problem, accelerating, putting in a good hard effort for, up to 20 seconds and then sort of just relax. Like I would catch my breath if I was in a good line. Here's a good move. The guy I just passed, his teammate was off the front. So he got to the front of this little chase group and he just sort of sat up to block everybody. Didn't really have any impact on the end, but it was a good tactic, good strategy. That's why it's nice to have teammates. So you can see because of that, a gap opened up again, but it's not going to stay. Spoiler alert, by the way. So now we're moving along pretty good. Now that was a good corner right there. I stayed to the inside of the corner, rode on the soft pavement, didn't get any jars. Now I have open pavement in front of me. I can choose the line I want. So I came through that little chicane part pretty good. I'm riding on the inside of the road here. There was some, like leaf debris and stuff like that, but nothing I was worried about. The road was in really pretty good shape. Not a lot of dirt on it. There was only one corner that was a little bit shaky, and that was turn 5. Had a little sand on the inside corner, but nothing horrible. And you can see, now people are starting to bring things back. And there's Steve. He's still in the race. He hasn't popped out yet. It was good to see him again. I was like, okay, good. I got a friendly wheel I can get on. So you notice if you watch the power, there's a lot of surges. A lot of, I got to make that effort just to get back up on that wheel. So you can see, I opened up a gap here again. A couple times during the race, I heard from the back, hey, close that gap down or don't let a gap happen. Hey, I do what I can. If I'm not into it at the moment, I'll get there eventually. You can see this straightaway, this finishing straight, it's pretty fast. You come off that turn. We were consistently over 28, 29 miles an hour going through here. Set up good again for this corner. Again, somebody cut inside of me, so I had to go wide through the rough stuff. And that was the other thing, like whenever I would start to fall back in a line, I never panicked. I wasn't worried about it. It was too early in the race to be nervous about, dropping off the back. I felt good. I knew I could move up and back. I didn't want to launch off the front. Unfortunately, like I said, early on I spent a lap up there. I spent some other time chasing at the front, but overall I did good. I think the biggest thing was it was okay to chase, but I needed to get some fuel on board while I was going. You see that guy there, he launches an attack. Nothing was really going to happen with that one. Everybody was just sort of watching each other at this point. And I don't know why I decided I had to go after him, but I don't know. That's just something that I need to learn. I need to learn, I don't need to be the one to close these moves down. But it is learning experience. I mean, I definitely raced better in this race than I did the previous one. It's just something you get with experience. So you just have to sort of be patient. I mean, somebody like that, I think there were too many riders in the group that are going to go after that, and eventually that's going to shut down. So you can see here on the right side now that you're going to see a train start coming through on the right of people trying to close that down. I hop on here. You'll see going up this next hill, I believe we'll shut it down. So good line through that corner again. That's the rough corner. Now we start the real gradual uphill. You see this guy never really got too far away. He was always in view, so he was never really worried. There's another guy chasing after him, thinking that maybe the two of them can launch off. This was the one corner, I said you didn't want to be on the inside of that one. That was the only corner that had a little bit of gravel and sand on the inside, but it wasn't horrible. It was still very, very rideable. Especially, I think I mentioned it before in one of the other videos, I run tubeless tires now, so I do run them a little bit softer. I run my back at about just under 95. I run the front, just under 90. It does give me a little bit more traction, grip, but it doesn't really sacrifice any rolling capabilities of the tire. So that turn I did a little bit better coming out of it. I got some acceleration going, and I surged onto the guy in front of me, but you can see right now I'm not pedaling. I'm coasting down the finishing straight. Now I'm starting to pedal again. Trying to line up for turn one, hit it good that time. That was a really good line. That wasn't too sharp of a turn. Came right through the apex of the turn. And at this point, everything really is back together. But like I said, there were constant. Somebody was going every lap. There's Joe again. When I went by Joe, I said, "Come on, Joe, let's go." I think Joe actually jumped on my wheel because you'll see him up here. He comes around. There's two guys up the road, this guy chasing them, and then there's a pack of maybe 5 of us, 6 of us right behind him, then another pack right behind that. So again, there wasn't really a lot of concern that any of this was going to get away yet. You see this guy's already knowing he's going to catch him, so he's moving over. Now here comes another mistake. I should have set up a little here. There was no reason to keep pressing on. That was a good time to try and just catch my breath. But I saw Joe and this other guy here in the I forget the name of the brewery, Jersey coming by. I'm like, okay, I got to go again. It wasn't hard, but You know, I could have used that spot to recover a little bit better. A little wide that time. Went through the rough spot. Thank goodness for a new headset. Thing is holding up good so far. I'll give it some more time, but it's holding up good. I like it. Now this spot I am a little bit out in the wind. Didn't really care about that. You know, this was not too bad. It was just a little gradual climb. Didn't bother me being out there. Eventually you'll see me tuck back in. Now I forget if Steve has dropped by now, or if I see Steve one more time. He either shows up in his frame or he already dropped. Sorry about that. Where's the phone? This was actually a cool little spot. This downhill was nice. You know, once you got the feel of it and you got in the right spot and you got the bottom turn, you know, it was a pretty cool little downhill section. Nothing steep, nothing ridiculous, but you know, you could carry some good speed through this turn. It's always cool going through a turn at, you know, almost 30 miles an hour. Here you see this is really proof of the effects of drafting. I mean, I'm not pedaling and I'm holding 28, 29 miles an hour. You know, and that's just because there's such a good draft with this bunch of people. You can just get sucked in. So we're just going to spend a couple laps going around. At one point, as we come up here to the start-finish line, look to the left, you'll see the lap counter. So at one point, I looked at the lap counter, and it had 18 laps to go, and I was like, oh man, really? And then I decided I wasn't going to look at it anymore. And the next time I looked at it, it had 8. And I was like, oh, great, I feel good. I had no problems. Look up here, as soon as we right by this 10, it should be a lap counter. It said 23. I think that's what it said. Went by pretty fast. So you know, we're still early in the race. We still got a good way to go. Maybe it said 20. I don't know. I couldn't see it. My screen's really small. I'm looking at it. So again, we're sort of back into this little surge mode. I don't think anybody put in a major attack now for a couple laps, but there was surges, sort of, you know, back and forth. People trying to see if they could open things up or maybe get some people to pop off the back. But you know, I kept myself, at least I think I kept myself in pretty good position. I tried to keep up near the front, so I could see what was going on. I wasn't concerned about what was going on behind me. I was, you know, really wanted to see what was happening ahead of me. see. I think, I don't know what happened there, but I swear that that lap counter just said 8. So something wasn't right there. I missed something, but that's okay. Because we still probably have, I'm going to say, almost 20 minutes of racing left. I mean, you see this time we're a little bit slower going up the hill. You're going to see, I think, a line of people come by on the right side. So the guy right ahead of the person with the number 310 on his jersey was the person I was trying to pace off of. I met him at Pickle Juice, real nice guy, and strong rider. So he was someone I was trying to keep an eye on. Even there, you can see I dropped a few feet back off the wheel in front of me. Got to get better at that. Got to be able to kind of those corners, you know, not lose 5 feet every time. You have to do a little surge to get back on. So now I'm trying to set for this corner. Got in pretty good. I kept the inside line on that one, which was good. And this time going up the hill, you can see there's another little surge. People thought the last lap was too easy, which is fine. You know, our speed's pretty good here. I think the lap before we were, you know, hitting 21, 22, going up this little rise. You know, now we're a couple miles an hour above that. I'm starting to back off again. This was actually where somebody was yelling behind me, close the gap, and I was just sort of catching my breath. And I think you'll actually see him come by me here on the left. There he is there. He was behind me, you know, telling me to close the gap to his own teammate. Corner. That was the one thing I tried to do every time, is I tried to set up through turn 1 to come right through the inside of the turn and not run through the rough stuff. Kind of right maybe 50% of the time. Surge from the people coming off the front. But something like that, I was never worried about. I knew what if you know, worst came to worst, I could catch him on the rise going up on the backside. just holding steady, you know, trying to pull back in, get back on the wheel in front of me. And this is a point in the race, you see all these people going by, you're like, oh man, I'm dropping out. But it wasn't like that at all. It was just sort of like, yeah, you know, it's coming back together. I'm just going to hang in there, be able to catch back up when I want to. You know, the wheel I'm on right now, that guy, he was off the front twice already. He's back here, sort of regrouping, sort of doing the same thing. Now I'm looking for a place. I just want to get on somebody's wheel and, you know, sort of do a lap or two in a slipstream, so I get a good little draft going. And there's that darn opening up again. Gotta be better through the turns. You can see that's one of our faster laps down the stretch. We hit 32 that time. Got a good line coming through the corner. Now everything sort of bunches up here, you know, going up the hill again. I just come up the inside. So I'm right back up and, you know, towards the front of the group. Not that far off. I think, you know, I'm probably in the middle of the pack. The guy in front of me, these active yard guys, they had probably 5 or 6 guys in this race. They worked well together. If one of their guys went off the front, you know, the others sort of sat back and let other people do the work to bring it back, and the next guy would go. They had a good representation in this race. I keep missing that guy. Not sure I'm on your left. And you see right ahead of this guy, there's one of his teammates. So right here, for whatever reason, you know, things started to slow down, so I was able to, you know, move up again. I think I might have gone a little bit too aggressively up here, though. And the good news is I didn't chase after that guy on the right. Dude, it wasn't my turn. Pretty good back into the main stretch. Going okay at this point. We've got 7 laps to go. So at this point, I'm like, okay, you know, finishing isn't a question. Like I'm going to finish. Now it's just a question of, you know, where am I going to be by the time things were coming down. Now, this is where I can tell you, I honestly felt like I needed a little bit of energy. Like it would have been really good if I would have had one of those block shoes or something. I wasn't exhausted, I wasn't bonking or anything like that, but I just needed a little bit to, top off the tanks. So I'm still good, I'm probably in the top 10, 12 places right here. Nobody's really off the front. Just riding, staying solid. Again, there's two of those active yards guys. Like I said, they had a good showing. There goes Joe. So at this point, I'd say I've been riding a steady race. I haven't ridden a great race. Like I said, I need to work on coming out of the turns, coming into the turns with more speed, coming out of the turns with power, not letting the gap open up every time. Maybe spent a little bit too much time chasing at the front, but I wouldn't say that took a lot out of me. Learning. Each race is a learning experience. So it's all good. We have 5 laps to go now. Just on the good edge of that corner. A little close to that guy, but hey, no harm, no foul. Sort of all coming back together again. Every once in a while, you get a lap where you're coming up to the top of this rise and people just take it a little bit easy. Now you got a little pinched in on this corner, but again, nothing to worry about. We weren't flying. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling confident in my mind that I'm where I want to be. We'll talk more about it as we get there. But with 2 laps to go, I got a really bad line through turn 1. Went way too wide and wasted a lot of energy going up the rise trying to get back on. And then a similar thing happened in the last lap. And I had nothing left at the top of the hill, but we'll get there in a minute. So now we're still doing good, everybody's sort of together, everybody's sort of cruising along. This is one of the slower laps down the straight. So we've got 4 to go now. So in your mind you're thinking, okay, well nobody's gonna launch one here. Everybody's too aware, everybody's too keen, everybody knows what's going on, so we're just going to sort of all sit and wait for that last lap. Now here's where I should have been over to the right more. I definitely should have been on somebody's wheel as opposed to out in the air like this. So this was another mistake. You saw the benefits earlier of drafting. Significant, very significant. But here, I'm taking on the wind. It wasn't overly windy, but there was a breeze. It wasn't terrible, but there was definitely a breeze. So you're definitely exerting more effort not being on a wheel than you would if you were on a wheel. So now you can see I'm trying to work over to the right, but a lot of times, people aren't going to let you in. You sort of have to sort of force your way in. Down the hill, I want to get past this guy for the turn so I can have clean, free space in front of me. I don't have to worry about anybody to my side, so I can take the corner like I like. I think this is the one I swing a little wide on this turn. I think it was this one. Yeah, you can see I'm almost all the way over to the other side of the road. That was a little too wide. Lost a lot of good momentum there. So we got 3 to go now. Still in good shape though. Now I go through the rough stuff. Now this is one of them. So you can see I hit that rough stuff and look how close I am to the left side. So now I'm on the bad part of the road. I'm taking a longer path around things. I have to work harder to get back in, and I'm not on a wheel. So right here, I'm just putting out energy that I'm wasting, and I will definitely feel this, on the next 2 laps. So now the pace is picking up, and we've got 3 to go. We're in the 3rd to go right now. I finally get on a wheel, but I waste a lot of energy in that spot right there, just trying to take the wide line and then trying to get back on. I'm still feeling okay. Like I'm happy with my positioning. Like I'm not out of it. Everybody's close enough that it's just going to take a little bit of work here. So I'm very happy right now with my position. This corner well, did a good job not losing space there. But again, I moved off of that guy's wheel. I don't know why, but I shouldn't have done that. Now you can see things are winding up. So I took that turn good. This is the next to last lap. So I'm in good position here. I'm happy with where I am. Going up the hill, I'm on a wheel. I'm not exposed, but now I move out of it. Why? I can't tell you. I'm trying to follow this active yards guy. He was pretty active the whole time, so I'm trying to follow him up a little bit, get up near the front. And you see right now, I'm in the top 10. On 1 lap to go. Right next to Joe on my right there. Joe rode a really good race. Again, I'm not on the wheel, and I keep noticing this over and over. Like that's why I sort of like watching this. I'm spending energy that I shouldn't be spending, but that's all part of learning. I came to that turn good. I noticed, right when I came out of the turn, my watch were going up. So now this is going to be the bell lap, I believe. Let's see. I'm going to buy the lap counter here. Yep, this is the bell lap. So right here, I'm in great shape. But now, look at this turn. Watch how wide I end up going. Like I'm outside the rough stuff. Like I'm all the way out to the shoulder. I'm out of any draft. I'm out to the shoulder. I can't get back onto a wheel. I almost hit that curb. I was so wide. So now I'm spending this whole uphill part chasing, trying to get in, and I'm doing it on my own. I'm not in a draft, and this just toast me. Like I'm at this point saying get to the top, and it's all downhill, but there's still a good amount to go to get to the top. And watch how quickly Joe goes away from it. So 341 is Joe. So on this part, he's just gonna roll away from me, because I'm at this point I'm pretty cooked. Like I really spent a lot of energy on that last little surge up that hill. So now at this point, I'm sitting there saying, okay, we're getting the downhill, catch your breath, and then just go if you can. Didn't have much left for a sprint. I really was tired. I did not do a good job on that last turn. Not that it would have made a huge difference, but I could have finished higher up. I definitely could have finished higher up. So now we're coming around last turn, and I kick it in. I try to go as hard as I can. You know, I'm getting up there. And right, boom, that's all she wrote. I finished in 17th place, learned a lot, really good learning experience for this race. Hey, that was my best turn one corner yet. But again, you know, that's why I'm doing this. I want to learn more. This was a better race than Pickle Juice. I'm doing another race next week. Hopefully I'll take some of the lessons I learned in this one from that. All in all, happy with the effort. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Again, subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, this is Chris from the Old Man Cycling Show saying thanks for watching and peace.